Welcome to a team selection video for Matchday 8 in UCL Fantasy, so the round of 16 second leg. And the first leg did pose some interesting questions and also some interesting scenarios. And in my case, I got 65 points. I went up from around 29k to 21k, so pretty happy with that. I'm on 450 points overall. And yeah, it's mainly the group stages where, as I already discussed before, I had a lot of ups and a lot of downs, and yeah, it was a very turbulent season, but hopefully I can build some consistency now. And I do have a good squad. However, I did make some mistakes and I'll be discussing it. I made some late transfers in the deadline stream, literally just 1 minute or maybe seconds before the deadline passed. So I'll discuss it just from the back. Szczesny in goal. I did have Ederson before, but I switched to Szczesny, and to be honest, I do regret that. Not only because Juventus looked poor, they conceded twice, and Ederson kept a clean sheet, but just going long term, I do back Manchester City more than Juventus, and they have a much better defence. Juventus are pretty shocking. The reason why I did that was to fund Ronaldo to Messi, because I backed Messi to outscore Ronaldo in the first leg, and while I did get that right, I literally didn't really make up any points that way because it's the same difference between Szczesny and Ederson compared to Ronaldo and Messi in terms of points. So yeah, that is a bit of a shame. Obviously, Mbappe was the one in that game who really came through, and yeah, for his price, he's looking very good. The reason why I was not really looking at PSG Barca players most of the time was because I just felt like it could have gone either way. Although I did expect PSG to go through, and it looks like they will. We'll have to see what happens in the second leg. It is a tough game to call, and you'd expect Barca to win the first leg and then PSG to win the second one, but obviously PSG won the first one at the Camp Nou. That does make things difficult, but yeah, Mbappe, after a year without scoring, broke the deadlock against Istanbul Basaksehir, and now he's continued it again, and he's been on great form. He's doing very well under Pochettino, but yeah, Szczesny was a failure of a transfer, and another bad thing about it is because he plays on the same day as Hits, so literally the point of, when you're building a team, especially with unlimited transfers, you would want to have, if you're looking for squad depth, have keepers who play on different days. And because obviously I just got in Szczesny last minute, obviously I didn't think that through fully, but it is what it is. And once again, they're going to play on the same day, on the Tuesday tomorrow. So yeah, it's not ideal. Looking at the defense, pretty mixed bag. Koundé and Kimmich both blanked. But with Kimmich, the attacking returns will come. He did create chances in that game against Lazio. And yeah, they just conceded one goal. I think they just took their foot off the gas. But Koundé, Sevilla just pretty poor defensively in the Champions League. In La Liga, they've been pretty decent there, but just can't translate that defensive form to the Champions League. And then Haaland was just on a mad one. So yeah, Koundé, very disappointing, and it looks like he might be out tomorrow. He might have an injury, so that is something to keep an eye on. And either way, I don't expect Sevilla to go through now. They'd have to score, probably 2 goals to go through, and then hope that Dortmund don't score, which I just don't see happening. So Koundé is on the chopping block, no doubt about it. Kimmich is 6.6 million, so he is very expensive. You'd want consistent returns, but this is the first time he's blanked this season when he is featured, so I'm going to be a bit more forgiving. As for Christian Romero, conceded a goal to Real Madrid, but still gets 5 points, and it's going to be a big shame when this guy gets knocked out, because he's one of the best UCL fantasy assets because of his ball recoveries. And if they kept a clean sheet against Real Madrid, and they could have, to be fair, if they didn't get a man sent off, then yeah, he could have been on for double digits. So Christian Romero, there's nothing really to complain about. As for my defense on the bench, John Stones didn't even feature, and Angelino conceded twice to Liverpool after 2 mistakes from his teammates. So yeah, on the whole, the defense was very poor. Pretty much everyone blanked except Christian Romero. So that's very, very poor. And obviously, originally I did have double City defense with Ederson in there. The reason why I actually also was put off Ederson was because, apart from clean sheets, which City are going to get plenty, you're just not really going to get any save points. So you could find better value elsewhere. Obviously, the good thing about Ederson is he's nailed. So you have that City cover in case they keep the clean sheet. Obviously, I don't think he will be on penalties, but you never know. One day maybe for the banter. But yeah, I think obviously in hindsight, Mendy from Chelsea, Ederson, even Keylor Navas, those would be better long-term options than Wojciech Szczesny. But it is what it is. I did what I did, and there's not much more I can do about it. Marcos Llorente blanked, and obviously I did substitute him out. Same with obviously the rest that you can see there. But the other midfielder's pretty decent. Obviously, we'll forget about Gundogan and Foden. They both blanked, and the goals came from elsewhere from City. But Chiesa with 8 points, and that actually that gives Juventus a little advantage. They just have to score one goal, and they're through in the second leg, and they can definitely do that. Obviously, they have a big over-reliance on Ronaldo, but Chiesa recently has been chipping in with goals and assists, so he's been very good. And I'll be honest, if Cuadrado wasn't injured in the first leg, I probably would have gone for him, but Chiesa's stood in very well for him. So before I was thinking of maybe doing a sideways move from Chiesa to Cuadrado. I just don't think that's worth it now. I think it's fine having Chiesa. Cuadrado will get more assists, but Chiesa has more goal threat. But yeah, both good options from Juventus, and I think apart from Ronaldo and Morata, yeah, I'd say Chiesa and Cuadrado are the ones you want to go for. Coman got an assist from, I think, a block shot or something like that. So it is something. Sane was the one who really did well, and he's been on great form. So obviously, if you do have enough money to go there, then I would recommend Sane. But Coman has been just ticking along nicely. He's one of the highest scoring players in the game. So yeah, I'll take those 4 points. Obviously, it's nothing great, nothing spectacular, but it is what it is. Messi, as I already discussed, I made a last-minute move to get him in. So Ronaldo to Messi did work out, but the other goalkeeper move to fund that didn't. But it is what it is. Lewandowski scored yet again, and I had the option, because I had the captaincy on Haaland, to change it to Lewandowski against Lazio. I did expect Bayern to score at least 3 goals, but in the end I just kept on Haaland, and yeah, it was the right decision. Lewandowski did alright, but nothing great. And as for Haaland, I captained my highest scoring player. Obviously it's easy on UCL Fantasy because you have multiple chances to get your captaincy right. So yeah, pretty happy with Haaland, and he's just a machine, and his record in the Champions League is incredible. So yeah, overall pretty happy. The defence was very poor. Not happy with the Ederson to Szczesny transfer, but apart from that, I can't really complain. And my team is looking pretty decent looking into Matchday 8. However, I do have some planned transfers, which I'll be discussing very shortly. But I already organised my bench, and there will be changes depending on the transfers, and there will be obviously shuffling around in terms of the starting 11 and the substitutes. Remember, as I always keep on saying, because some people who are new to UCL Fantasy or to the channel may not understand this, but you want to put players on the bench who play later on, so maybe in the last day or two of the match day, because otherwise you're just going to lose out on points, and you'd rather be in control of your substitutions with manual substitutions. So I'll show you an example here. It shows you what you've done. So here I started Hits, Angelino and Llorente, who basically played in the first few days of the match day. They didn't do well, so I literally transferred in players who played on the last day or so, and they came in, and it gives you more chances of getting points. That's why I do like squad depth in UCL Fantasy. But yeah, hopefully that does clear things up and helps you there. It's a big tip and advantage over your competitors. But this is how my team is looking, and once again, having 2 keepers who play on the same day, it isn't ideal. So I would play Szczesny instead of Hits, but I am thinking of getting rid of Szczesny, maybe for Ederson. And although, as I already pointed out, he's not really going to get too many points other than clean sheets, he is a long-term asset. I do expect City to go far into the competition, probably the semi-finals, maybe even further. So he is a good long-term asset. But I think Mendy, in terms of value offered, he is the best one. The issue with him is if I get him in, he blanks, Atletico go through, and then I have to change my keeper again, which isn't ideal. I just rather have a set and forget keeper who I don't really have to worry about. And Ederson is nailed in that City defence, and they are, in my opinion, the best team in Europe defensively. So it would be good to have Ederson in there despite his hefty price tag. So that is what I am thinking at the moment. There is also Keylor Navas, but from PSG defence, I think Marquinhos is the one I would really want. I'm not interested in Florenzi or the others. They don't get as many ball recovery points, and oddly enough, not enough goal involvements as Marquinhos can do. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment in terms of my keepers. But my defence looks pretty good. Obviously, I would hope that Stones plays. And Angelino, actually, this is something I didn't mention, I think he's going to be out for the second leg. So yeah, he wasn't involved in the squad for Leipzig and over the weekend. So that's something to keep an eye on. And same with Koundé. So both of them are on the chopping block. And if I do go ahead with the goalkeeper and defender moves, I may take a -4 to also move Messi to Mbappe, and that gives me more money to get in the likes of Marquinhos and maybe Ederson, etc., to just pretty much improve my team. And it also places me in good stead, and it also probably allows me to stay within the 5 transfers going into the quarterfinals, because remember, before the quarterfinals first leg, you get 5 free transfers. So I do want to not take hits there, and this will place me in good stead for that. But we'll have to wait and see. My midfield is looking pretty good as well. You'd expect points across there. And yeah, my attack, I mean, in terms of captaincy, I think this is the main thing before I obviously discuss my team even further. Haaland is definitely going to be my captain in the first day, no doubt about it. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Even if I had Ronaldo, I'd probably still go for Haaland, but that's just my opinion. And then on the Wednesday, if I do get Mbappe in, I think he'll be my captain. I mean, I pretty much don't have anyone else on that day. So, yeah, I think I'd go for him. Otherwise, I'd just put on Messi if need be. Obviously, if Haaland does, gets a hat-trick or something, there's no need to change my captaincy. But this is just all hypothetical. And then moving into the Tuesday of the week after, oddly enough, I actually might either captain Christian Romero because of his ball recovery points, or maybe a City defender, depending on who's starting. Obviously, the good thing about all the games starting late at 8 o'clock is that the lineups come out at 7, and you can still change your team. And because obviously if you have 3 or 4 City players, Pep loves to rotate. You'll know who's going to play and who won't, so that gives you an advantage. You can have them all on the bench and then bring on the ones who are actually starting. So that's the good thing about it. But yeah, I might even captain Stones there, maybe even Ederson or Gundogan. But yeah, Tuesday's a bit more open. And then on the Wednesday, yeah, it's just clear it would be Lewandowski or nothing really in terms of captaincy. So that's how I was looking at the moment. In terms of captaincy, all of my captains I've planned already, or I've got a good idea. It's pretty much the same as the last time that we did this in Matchday 7. But yeah, Messi against Paris Saint-Germain, like, he's been in great form, Messi. He's been probably the best player in 2021. He's just been exceptional. He's only, not done well in one game, and I think that was the Supercopa de España, the final. So yeah, I think Messi, he's doing really well. Barcelona are attacking well, but PSG are just... I don't really rate PSG that much, I'll be honest, but they're just a much better side than Barcelona, and Barca's defense is just awful, and I'd favour Mbappe over, facing Lenglet and Piqué once again. I think Piqué might be injured again, though. But yeah, with Messi, I'm just not so sure, and he hasn't scored a goal in an away fixture in the Champions League knockout stages for a very long time, and that's partly to do with his team being so poor in these stages, but also, I don't know, I just think I think he's too isolated. Obviously he can do better himself, his standards are so high, but yeah, that's just why the plan was always to have him for the first leg and then ship him out for the second leg, unless Barca were like 5-0 up in the first leg, and the fact that they're 4-1 down makes me just want to get rid of him. Same with Szczesny and Koundé and Angelino because of their injuries, and also their defense is being pretty poor. But yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. Foden, I'll be honest, and even Gundogan, getting rid of one of them, maybe going into the quarterfinals, is something I'm looking at, and that will allow me to maybe get Ederson, and I might even do John Stones to Diaz just to have someone more secure. Stones is going to be rotated a lot with Laporte. With Diaz, you'd expect him to start every Champions League game, so that's looking further ahead, and obviously you have to look at the ones who are going to get knocked out. So if Marcos Llorente is knocked out and Christian Romero, they'd also have to make way. But apart from those players I just highlighted, I think I'm pretty happy with the rest of it. Even if Hitz and Dortmund go out, obviously a big shame for Haaland, but with Hitz, I just don't mind having him on the bench. I just stick with one keeper and that's it. So that's how I'm looking at the moment. And these are my planned transfers, as I discussed before. Mbappe in for Messi, and Marquinhos and Rudiger in for Koundé and Angelino, and potentially also Szczesny to Ederson, just to have a keeper on a different day or something like that. And if not, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I'm not sure. I don't like taking hits in UCL Fantasy. I tend to do an FPL. But yeah, in UCL Fantasy, I rarely make hits. But yeah, Szczesny to Ederson is just a long-term move. I can have keepers on different days. I can have someone who's a long-term asset. City are a much better defence than Juventus. So that is my thinking at the moment with my transfers. You can let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And yeah, going into the future, one of the City midfielders, if not both, could make way. John Stones to Diaz. And then the knocked out players will make way too. So that is what I am looking at. And let me know what your situation's like down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. And if this video gets up to 60 likes or more, then I'll be doing a deadline stream tomorrow for UCL Fantasy, where if you have any questions, whether it's about the captaincy, about players to bring in, anything like that, then you can ask me and I'll answer. And yeah, I'll also be discussing my team in more detail. You'll see the transfers that I do end up making. And in future, between different days when you can make substitutions, I'll be updating you lot with the subs I do make. And if I do change my captaincy, you lot will be informed. So yeah, hopefully that covers everything. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram. You can also talk to me on there. And yeah, you can say whatever you want, whether it's about football, FPL, or UCL Fantasy. I'm all ears. But thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.